Okay, Jifa, thank you for joining me. I apologize. I had some technical difficulty. Um, well, we got through week one. Week one of the GEFA season is in the books, and to be honest with you, um, I think it could have got a little bit luckier with the weather, but in overall, I think the we really got some insight of what's going on. I know um, the inside the G on Monday, the guys were asked, um, what did we learn? Um, and to be honest with you, I think we learned more than they put on. I know Brent said we didn't learn anything. It's just week one, um, and he's most likely right. That's the way the Jeep has gone. Uh, I think we're gonna see a couple surprises. I think with some of the new additions, um, in regards to the Wildcats and the Mustangs and the Tomahawks getting some guys back. I think that maybe has made week one a little bit more of a inkling of what we could see for the future versus what we were typically used to seeing. I do think Brent is right in the sense that um, the teams at the end are probably going to be the teams at the end. But again, I think we have a little bit in there where we could kind of a little gray area, and that could change. I'm gonna open up, and I just want to go through some of the main topics. If you guys were following, if you've been getting on the GEFA 360 .com, you're gonna find some of the headlines that we've been posting lately. Let's see if I can open up. If you guys, I will try to do my best to follow in the comments. If you do want to hear anything or see anything, let me know. Let's see here. Actually, need it. Hmm. Can you guys hear me in here all right? Okay. Um, One of the big things I did want to talk about, week two will be a mental health awareness week in the GFA. Um, kind of wanted to start there for me just because it's a personal issue. Um, I myself have battled mental illness for quite a while, probably 15 years that I feel like is when it really started. Um, and there is some tough times. And I know that I don't have it nearly as bad as others. So I want to encourage everyone to um, reach out if you need to. Um, think about others out there. Make sure that we're really taking the time to try to be aware of the people around us and be there for someone if they need to talk. And if anyone out there does need, I know this league, if the league has done more than anything, it's been a family for each other. Um, I know the league has, I mean, created so many friendships and relationships and just situations where guys that never normally would have hung out or been together, or shared families and everything else, where they're doing that now because of this league and because of this game. So, first thing I want to make sure that we're focused on, the Mental Health Awareness Week. We are encouraging players and fans and anyone attending games to wear teal and purple, just to show support for the awareness. like I said, there is a post on the website. If you guys have questions, you can always reach out as well. If you guys are commenting here, I ain't seen anything yet. Um, Besides that, guys, I know one of the big discussions we were talking that the Chief has been talking about lately is refs. It's hard for me to be so up in arms about the refs because I know where it's been in the past, and unfortunately, a lot of these players, and especially the ones that have been here 5, 6, 7 years or more, recognize how difficult it was previously. Um, and yes, we have a long, long way to go, but I do think it's still been better. With that said, I think the idea of implementing training and figuring out a way to um, make sure that the refs that we're using understand the differences in our league, understand this isn't PIAA, understand those things, and making it clear, making sure that the owners know the rules, making sure that the players on the field, the coaches especially, know the rules. I get some players might not know all the intricacies of what the rules say and the bylaws are, but at the end of the day, I think the owners and coaches especially need to know these things, have access to it, and if there's certain topics and things that are of issues and coaches need addressed, that needs to be talked about prior to the game. It's owners and coaches need to do their due diligence and have a conversation. I think the ref thing is an issue, but in my opinion, um, I feel like until we can hire our own refs or train our own refs, like I know we want to do, it's really going to be difficult to hold them to that standard. So I think that's the biggest thing for me with the refs right now. I want to see improvement, and we can continue to discuss ways to do so. But for now, um, I think we're in good shape, especially if we can get 3 or 4 refs at a time. I think that's a big help. Um, with that, I don't want to get too much into the recaps of week one. We've talked about all that. You've heard that the Inside the G Fund Monday. If you guys followed on anything last night, 4th and 20, we got a good insight of where people's heads are and where these players have been. One of the teams that I think just sparking my interest is the Warriors. You know, to me, I've never really had faith in um, what they have emulated. Um, I feel like Wilkes-Barre has always had the opportunity for the talent to really thrive, um, but at the same time, I haven't seen it. Let's see here. Sorry, guys, 1 second. All right. Sorry, guys. Um, to me, the Wilkes-Barre Warriors, I think, have the biggest opportunity to put themselves in a place where they can be established. And I also feel like I've heard the chatter from them has been much more come watch. We're gonna show you how it's gonna go. And maybe I'm just missing it. Maybe I'm just not seeing all of the stuff on social media. But I don't see the chattering or the shit talking, sort of, that I feel like I have in the past. Um, No, you know what? Maybe that's not true. I think it's just there's just been this thing over the Warriors to me that's just never. I cannot. The ownership and all of that. I want consistency. That it was an amazing display on last Saturday. The Warriors showed out clearly. Um, I assume that's their highest scoring total ever. Um, Maybe broke the record for the single game. I'm not sure. Either way, it was impressive. That new quarterback. All right. So I got a comment. What game has the closest spread in this week's upcoming? All right. So King, man. I guess closest. I want to say. Let me see. Let me take a look. Yeah, I think I want to be. Man, I'm gonna say closest game this week is you're gonna look at. I think the Tomahawk Savages game is gonna come down to a last second play. Um, it's gonna be a walk off, something like that. You're gonna get that game to come down to the wire, back and forth. Tomahawks at Savages. I think that's the game that to me King is gonna be your closest game of the week. I that, but to be honest, Wildcats, Warriors looks good to me. Cyclones, Vikings, I think is going to be way closer than people think. I feel like they might be putting the Vikings on this different level because of last week. I just don't see it. I think they're still the same team, and that game is going to be good, back and forth. Um, and a Comanche and Buffaloes game, I think, is going to be closer than people think too. Uh, hope I hope both sides of the ball. I hope they um, I hope lots of scoring. I want to see the defenses show out too, but I have a feeling it's going to be that might be a back and forth game too. If the Comanches defense is what I think it can be, it will be a little bit more of a blowout. But I think the Buffaloes have something, and I'm rooting. I'm excited to see good football this week. So um, yeah, I think that's it. I would say the Wildcats going to the Warriors this week is going to be huge. We've seen what the Wildcats were week 0. Um, I sort of put my foot in my mouth, I guess, so to speak, by talking about the Cyclones defense week 0 and then I feel like the Cyclones defense and everybody else was all up in my face about how great they did in week 1. Um, but I'm a little confused. I'm a little bit confused because, see, for me, I thought the Wildcats. So here's all the teams at the top, right? It's all the teams that are always up there. Um, the Cyclones, the Comanche, the Vikings lately, all these. So they're the top tier teams, right? And if the Wildcats are somewhere down here, I did think that they were climbing. I thought they were getting into that bottom tier of the best teams in the league. Cyclones were very adamant that they're not worried about it. They're who that we thought they were. Blah blah blah. And it was such a great game by the Cyclones defense. Apparently, it was very. Again, I'm just confused about if the Cyclones are right, if the Wildcats are not what everyone was hyping them to be after week 0, me included, and they're much more of a team that they've been in the past, well then that win is not impressive. I'll take the loss in saying that I thought the Wildcats were better than they were, but I can't go both. I can't take the loss of saying that I was wrong about the Wildcats and then take the loss and say that the Cyclones defense is amazing. I was wrong. No, it can't be both. Either the Wildcats are are good like I thought, and the Cyclones defense is great because the Wildcats are good. Or the Wildcats aren't that good, but then the Cyclones really haven't played anyone yet, right? Then we haven't seen the Cyclones have to compete because week 0 was a joke. Week 1, if the Wildcats are what they thought they were, then they weren't that much of a deal either, right? So why are we talking about how impressive it is? That's the only thing I'm confused. And I'll take one or the other. Cyclones, either either the Wildcats or what they thought you were, and I was wrong there. Fine. And then you still have to show me, maybe not me, but you have to show everyone what you guys got. This is a good week to show us. If you go ahead out and spank the Vikings, and it's like it's been week 0 and week 1, then I guess that we're gonna have to accept that, right? Because we can't just say that, well, every team you're playing is not good. I do think that the Wildcats are good, so I would love to give you the credit for how great that week 1 performance was against them. But like I said, I'm gonna trust you, and I'm gonna trust that the Cyclones are right in this scenario, and the Whitecaps aren't that good, so that's fine. But now you have to show me week 2. Okay, so now we get to travel out to MOVA, and we get a chance to see Greg and that amazing offense with all their guys coming back. And I if the Cyclones' defense is what they say they are, and based on everything that I've seen, they probably should easily win this game by a few touchdowns. If all these teams are still at the top where they are near each other, and so I think this is a better opportunity for us to get a chance to see how good the Cyclones are. And no matter what happens, it's clear that they're right at the top. They are one of the best teams in the league. I am not trying to take anything away from everything they've done. And I just want to continue to see greatness. If they go out and destroy the Vikings, I think we're talking about a Cyclones team that may be on the cusp of greatness and history, because they're just blowing through all these teams. They still have to play the Comanche this year. So we're going to see a bunch of highly competitive games during the season. The problem is the regular season's the regular season. But for me, I think this is going to be a big, big chance. Abdul, I'm not saying the Cyclones don't have to destroy the Vikings or anything. The Cyclones are where the Cyclones have been the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever years. However many years they've been great, since 14, 13, whatever it is. They're right there. Do I think this is the best team they've ever had? Absolutely not. The entire offense is older. Father Time is Father Time. Medina looks great. The offense looks great. So I'm not there. That seems normal to me. And because I think the defense looks different, because the defense is being led by a different coach. These are things film. Um, Sometimes I don't know if people know what that means. Sometimes I don't know, and I'm gonna sit here, and I've filmed before, and you guys have seen the way. Yeah, I'm not sitting there and acting like it's easy without the right situation, without the right setup, without the right height, the right camera and equipment. It's really difficult sometimes. But that should be sometimes. That should be weather related. That should be, and to me, if especially if you're the home team, I do think that it's very, very, very important to make sure that a priority is to figuring out how to make sure that that film is as accessible as possible to view all the things going on, and you get it in a timely manner, um, and you get it in. We're only hurting the players by not getting that film out. I'm not going to take a long time on film. I we know what we need to do. The teams like the Cyclones that have been putting out great film for years, there's a standard out there. It's not difficult to see where to get to and what you can do. And I know Brent and James Simerson and Monk Williams and all these other coaches or players that have played in this league for a long time. There are multitude of people that you can ask questions to and reach out to if you have just how to do it better, how to get better equipment, how to have a better situation. I know the Cyclones, I think, use the drone. There's so many different things that you can do. And again, I don't think you need to go above and beyond and get crazy with things. But I think you absolutely need to make it a priority. If you forget about that, that's even something you're doing, and you have some random person last second, and you're telling them to just grab the thing and film, that's not going to work. That can't be sufficient. You have to make it a priority. All right, that's my end of my rant on the film. I don't have to talk too much about that. Still watching for comments, you guys. Skyhawks by 40. Who does Skyhawks play? I think I know the schedule by now. Let's see here. Skyhawks. Spartans. Ooh, okay. Okay. We'll discuss that real quick. Zay, I assume you're on the Skyhawks. I'm not sure. Let me see here. I don't see Skyhawks by 40. I do think you win, but I give you half that. I give you Skyhawks by 20. If that helps you. Okay, let's get back to the teams, guys. Besides the Warriors, I talked about them. That to me is the number one team that I'm intrigued about. The number one team to me that has a lot to lose or gain moving forward. Another performance like last week is a huge step, especially against the Wildcats. The Wildcats have to come out firing, and it needs to be. I just hope it's back and forth and back and forth, and that'll at least prove that the offense is there. I'm very curious to see who gets out there on the field for the Wildcats. Who's going to be running that offense? But besides the Warriors, after them, I think to me, I've set aside the Wildcats for momentarily. I need to see what they continue to do this week against the Warriors and so on. And I'm not discounting them, but I'm just setting them aside. But I definitely, for me, the intrigue is Warriors. Number 2, I would say, would be Savages. great win week one. Some would say the opponent was, you know, I don't. I think the Spartans are a good team, um, and I think the Savages prove that they can compete. I think this is the week that we're going to kind of see where they are, though. So I think that's why it's super valuable. Um, yeah, man, these games week two are big. Wildcats Warriors is big. Tomahawk Savages is big. With the Tomahawks being back in the fold, with LaShawn Brown being back, that to me is the most exciting thing for that team. A vet like him, the experience he has. Week one looked good. I think I think the Tomahawks are right back into it with adding some of those pieces that they were missing before back. LaShawn specifically. So I think that this game, Tomahawk Savages, is going to be. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be. I think both teams are going to play well. Um, and I'm not giving. I don't need to do predictions. I really don't. But I really want to see. I really want to see the Savages be consistent. So I could care less if the Savages lose this game because I think the Tomahawks are that good. But it can't be sloppy. They can't be figuring out how to score points. It needs, if it's back and forth and the Tomahawks are making plays which against the Savages, which is, but it's I can't have the Savages tripping over their own feet. All right? If they need to play well, they need to go into this confident and be ready to execute. I know Dave Lopes is going to have that offense ready. I have other guys over there that I've known for a long time that I know are going to be prepared. But at the end of the day, it comes down to all that. Does the coaching staff stick it together? Does all the pieces fall into place? And win or lose, do they do it as a team? That's what I want to see from the Savages. I think you're going to see that Tomahawks. I think the Tomahawks are right there. The Tomahawks have all the things that they need to be a contender. They have the camaraderie. They have the history. They have the family vibe. They have the quarterback back. So the Tomahawks Savages game is going to be, to me, the best of the week. That's probably the one I'm going to. I'm gonna probably say it right now. If it's not that, it's definitely Wildcats Warriors. But I think you're gonna see so much clarity from both of these teams after this week that we'll have a good idea of what the Valley is going to look like. Because the Savages, I think, are going to be a huge factor on that 3-4 seed near the end. So I'm rooting for the Savages. I have in the past, and I feel like they've always just fallen short. Rooting for my guy Abdul Murphy. I know he's going to have them ready to go too. But so many guys at the Tomahawks that the same thing. They've had the history. They know what to do. They've played in these big games. They've played in championship games. So make sure you guys keep an eye on Tomahawk Savages. If we get a chance to live stream that, I'm going to definitely do so. Let me just check the comments here. All right, let me go back through some of these comments here real quick. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I know the Savages are going to be ready. This is the week to me that's going to be their indicator of the trajectory. So Abdul Lopes, Probably coming. Be ready. I want to see something. Um, well, let me think here, guys. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Anything of value? Anything important? Mustangs. I think the Mustangs are there. I know it was a weird week against the Vikings, but I'm telling you that they were in position so many times and just pissed it away so many times. Those takeaways from the Vikings were much more about the Mustangs than the Vikings. I don't think that is taking away from anything that the Vikings are going to be. I think the Vikings are a good team just like they've been. I think they're defending champs, rightfully so, and still have that team ready to go. I think that the Mustangs are just way, way better than they've been in the past. They have talent. The weather was a factor. It allowed them to play a little bit more um, close vested. But again, multiple times in the red zone, multiple times within the 5, and they couldn't make it happen. I mean, the Vikings only won that game by 10 points. The Mustangs are going to be huge. I do think they beat up the Miners, but we'll see. That's another thing. If they go out there and just beat them up and convincingly by a couple touchdowns, mark my words, they're right there. Mustangs are right in the mix with that 3-4 seed for the Valley at that point. Let's see here. TJ from the Mustangs said that they got to score. You mean you got to score or they got to score? I want to see. I do want to see the Mustangs put the ball in the end zone. I want to see consistently on offense. So that's going to be an intrigue to me too. Besides that, not a lot of other stuff. Let me just real quick off the top of my head before I let you guys go. Let's go through the team. Cyclones, Greg Medina's Greg Medina. That offense is back. Everybody apparently says that I am so wrong on the Cyclones defense, and they're back. I'm halfway there. I'm halfway there to believe that you guys are as good as you've been in the past and have the ability to carry that to the championship. Warriors, again, super excited. 108 points. New quarterback looks awesome. Whole team looks good. I want to see where their leadership goes. Savages, we talked about them. Skyhawks, let's go. We got this. I think they're going to have an opportunity this week. I don't think they destroy anybody, but I think they can beat the Spartans. And you got so many other teams. You got the Raptors are looking for their first win. Comanche, again, big game against the Buffaloes this week. I think that's going to be, they're going to be punching people in the mouth. Maybe not literally out there, but it's just going to be hard-nosed football that game. So that's going to be a good one to watch as well. Guys, I don't know if I have too much more for you. We are trying to put out as much content as we can. This show is a little bit different than the others. It's just kind of me sitting here giving my opinion. I'm gonna be feeling it out, figuring on getting some guys on here and there. I've been trying to write articles and things like that and get things out. The more content you can give us, the more we'll try to give back. The more interactions teams have and guys have, we want to keep it as respectful as we can. But at the end of the day, the more we can interact and get that stuff going, the juice is flowing, the more that allows us to be able to put out content that you would want to read or see or watch. So follow the page, get on the GEFA360.com website, check out the News Hub. Mr. Predictor doing his thing again. He has week 2 predictions up as well. And keep an eye on the news of what's going on. I'm gonna huge shout out to LC, still doing his thing and fighting. I know he has a while to go, but I'm thinking about him every day. I'm thinking about his team and his family every day. Um, and everybody else, anybody else out there kind of going through any of this stuff. Um, we talked about Mental Health Awareness Week this week. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind in your daily life. Keep that in mind um, with your families. Keep that in mind with your coworkers. Keep that in mind on Saturday with your teammates, with your coaches, with with your opponent. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all doing this thing. We're all battling this life and doing our best. So let's make sure we have good football, hard nosed football, GEFA football, and I think it's going to be an amazing week 2. Um, I will post where I will be this week, and thank you guys for joining me. It was a pleasure. Sorry I got on about a half hour late. I will try to be more consistent at 9 next week. And again, stay tuned for my interviews on Saturday. All right, this is Mark My Words out.